the one where you're inside your own head, because that's just about the only situation, you know, that you can't get out of, you know, because it is your head, your head. Talking is the quick, you know, it feels like it's a quick way out, and I think that's well, and it's quicker than you know, like buying a paintbrush and paints and doing a painting, and it's quicker than most other things because it doesn't. You don't need anything for it, you know. Well, I suppose you need a few things. You know, you need air because your sound travels through the air. But I didn't really think about that. What I was thinking is that, you know, you don't need much to talk, and it's a quick way out. So if you're in your I don't want to, you know, even though I'm talking, you know, I wouldn't like you to think that I know what I'm talking about. Although, you know, because I feel like when people talk, it kind of almost like, you know, it's almost by definition it would seem like they would think that you know, they have something to say, and I don't know if I do, but I don't. I might have, but I don't know. And I think probably the most difficult thing about talking is, even though it's easier than most other things, is probably that, you know, is choosing words. You know, because there's so many words, and on what basis, you know, if you want to say something, you know, how you know, on what basis do you choose words? And I feel like I think that words, that, you know, the only basis on which to choose words really is based on your feelings, you know, and so that seems quite easy, but I think that's quite difficult because feelings don't. Because I think it feels, or I think, or I feel that it's obvious that feelings rule my life, you know, and because it feels like they're always affecting everything that I do, and in fact I can't do a lot of things, you know, because of my feelings, and so that seems simple, but you know, but feelings don't have I don't know what they are, you know. They don't speak English, I don't think, necessarily. You know, so finding words to match up to feelings, or even doing something that matches up to your feelings, feels, or I think or feel that's quite difficult, you know. But the reason I mean, I don't know. I feel like the reason I'm saying this, or trying to say this, is that I think that is I often feel fake. You know, I often feel fake. It's one of the most common feelings I feel. You know, and I think I feel fake because I feel like I haven't been true to myself. You know, true to how I feel. You know, and I come home and feel bad because I feel like I've been out being fake. You know. And so I'd like to know. So I don't want to be fake because it feels bad. And it's like lying, lying is lines. If you lie about things, and you have to remember the lies, and but if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So it's easier when you're not kind of keep putting up a front. But I think the problem is, I think that seems simple, but I think the problem is that the problem is how to know what it is that you actually do really feel, because although the feelings might be strong, how can they're not? It's not even like what I don't know what it is. It's just like it's feelings is like it's not. It doesn't. I don't know how you can possibly turn. If you turn feelings into anything else, I think there's always going to be something lost. And I think one of the because so I want to try to be honest to you now, and that's what I'm trying to do, But I also want you to like me, and so I'm also being. I want to be polite, or I want to be nice, or something like that. But I also want to try and be true to my feelings, but I fear that if I really told you what I really feel, that you wouldn't like me. And so I don't know if I am really. I'm trying, but I'm not. I don't know. I think I would probably stop myself at a certain point. And then, because you might think I'm a monster, because I think I'm a monster all the time, When I feel horrible, whatever it is, when I feel disgusted with what I do and say and the things I make and do, often feeling disgusted is one of the most common feelings I feel about myself. So I think that but in a way, like if I feel like if I think about other people, I don't want to hurt other people because I don't want to be hurt by other people. I wouldn't like you to punch me in the face. So and I don't want to go to prison. And so in a way it's quite straightforward, to perhaps be polite or nice to others. But I feel like what's much more difficult than that is to be is inside yourself. Because I feel like inside yourself the same thing happens as I was just trying to talk about, that you can be polite to yourself, because you're inside. You are you inside yourself, and you might have some feelings that come up that you don't really like, and so then you might, if you don't like the feelings, you might either sort of pretend that they're not there, or you might not, like if you're feeling like, you might not argue with yourself because it's so it's like so because I feel like it's as if you go to a party in your head and you meet yourself at the party, and you're talking to yourself and you don't, and you don't, you think you're a dick, but you don't say that because you don't want to get into a fight, and you don't, so you're just like, you just listen to it all, and then you come home from the party, and then when you get home, it's like, fucking that guy is a fucking dick. Why do I have to just listen to him, for fucking hours, and I feel like that happens that can happen in your own head, and I think it's quite a good analogy, except that you can't leave the party, you know, just in your own head. And so, you know, so you're stuck dealing with this deck, but, and you have to try and live with him, you know, or her. But you know, so I don't know what. So I don't know. So if I think I want to be truthful and true to myself, you know, and I want to be honest, you know, I feel like it starts getting quite difficult because of this situation. Because I feel like you can be polite to yourself almost without realizing you're doing it, you know, and almost like you automatically avoid a fight on the street or whatever, you know. You know, and so it can kind of, and so it feels to me sometimes like when I'm trying to do things, I'm stuck between like prejudice, which is like the feelings coming up, which is like, I think feelings are like are the ultimate example of prejudice, because feelings come up without any, there's no, they don't, you know, they prejudge, because it's like a knee-jerk reaction or whatever, you know. And then on top there, you're kind of like trying to be polite, you know, to the outside world and probably to yourself. And then, so then you can be kind of stuck like that between prejudice and politeness. So kind of like, I think that feelings, you know, can be, you know, it's kind of, you know, it's like living with you're living with this thing that controls your life. You know, you don't know what it looks like. You know, you don't speak the same language as it, but it's telling you what to do. You know, it's like it's a nightmare scenario, really. You know, and yeah. Oh God, sorry, I don't want to be kind of too negative. Really, or maybe I do want to be negative. I think that it's easier. You know, I feel like it's easier to talk about. I don't know if it's pleasurable to talk about shit, but you know, that's why shit's shit. You know, because it's inside you, it's horrible, you know, you can't help it, it's fucking coming out of you all the time. you know, so feelings, you know, shit's just a, you know, a physical version of feelings. Yeah. You know, I'd feel like I think that I can say that I would like to communicate, you know, because I think, and that's where talking can help, I think, and because I think if you're stuck in your own head, you know, it can help to be with other people, you know, and I think that, you know, communication is probably just as difficult as you know, communicating is you know, connected to trying to express your feelings, you know, and the thing is, you know, I don't know how communication works, you know, and also, you know, because I don't know what my true feelings are, I don't really know how to, you know, I don't know how to express them, but also I don't know if I know really how you know when you've communicated, you know, but I do feel like it definitely works, because I feel or it can work, you know, but I feel like it's a mystery how it does work, communication between people, because everyone's trapped in their own head, you know, their own ideas, but you know, somehow there's thinking that maybe it works partly like as a form of rhyming, you know. So you can't get out your head, you can't get your feelings out, but you can find things or make things that rhyme with your feelings, you know. So it's like a form of rhyme. So it's like, you know, there's no way you can't like so. For example, I think it's like communications like when there's a train track next to a motorway. So if you're in a car going along the motorway and you can see a train on the train track and it's going in the same direction as you are, and you can see people on the train, and the people on the train can see you in your car. So, and you can definitely see that they're going in the same direction as you are, but there's no way that you can get on the train, you know, and there's no way that they can get off the train into your car, but you're definitely going in the same direction, and so it's a form of rhyming or something like that, you know. I think that, you know, the problem with words, I feel like the problem is with words, as soon as they're out there, you know, like, because I'd like to find words that rhyme with my feelings, you know, that match up to them, but you know, as soon as they're out, there's no, you know, they never seem good enough, you know, and so then you just throw more of them out there, hoping that eventually they'll build up, you know, but usually, you know, they don't build up, they kind of like just kind of sink down, you know. So trying to write a song, you know, to me that's difficult because I don't know what words to, you know, I don't know what words to use, but I was trying to, you know, but the kind of like, I had the idea that maybe, you know, because I don't trust my feelings, you know, I think feelings often seem to operate like they're an immediate aversion. You know, because often when people ask me if I want to do something, I think, no, I don't want to do it, you know. I don't want to go out, you know, I don't, and then it's like immediately no, and then it's gradually, yes, I do want to go. Because I'm fucking scared of like just being, you know, doing nothing in my life and just sort of staying in and watching TV, you know. So it's often, and I often feel scared of new things, and you know, and I feel like it's often you hate something, and then that turns out to be the person that you love, you know, later. And so it swings around. Feelings are, you know, and it depends if you're hungry, you get a headache, or you know, whatever it is. You know, they change according to that as well, and so they're not to be trusted. And so I thought that if I tried to write a song about my feelings, my true feelings, maybe to try and trick myself, you know, I could write the exact opposite of the way I was feeling, or the way I thought I was feeling, and thereby maybe being more true to my real feelings. So this is a song that is the opposite of. I wrote down the opposite.
I
to music, I feel like that's a whole, I feel like that's very difficult too, because there's so many notes on the guitar, and they all sound okay, and I don't know why I would use one note rather than another, unless I go by my feelings about the notes, but then, I don't really trust that, But so I was trying to choose the notes, but also choosing notes is kind of difficult, and then if you're trying to choose words as well, it's like these two difficulties you're trying to match up, and I don't know how they fit together. I feel like music and words is like feelings and thoughts. They don't. It's hard to fit them together. And but this is a song that I wrote. I was trying to make the song so that the words and the music go exactly together. Goes on like that. People often say, that when you're arguing, your true feelings come out. And often people say that, between lovers or friends, the ones that can argue have a healthy relationship, because in the heat of an argument, you lose it, and then and so you let it, you let your feelings out, and so your defences are down in against yourself, I feel like I'm talking too much. If you're feeling bad and your thoughts are sad, pass them on to someone else. Pass them on, pass them on, pass them on, pass them on. Pass your bad feelings on, pass them on. Pass them on, pass them on. make an announcement. I wanna make an announcement. I wanna make an announcement. I wanna make an announcement. I don't wanna make an appointment. I don't. Yeah, but I was thinking that kind of, if you're trying to, if you think of your feelings as an enemy, it's it's like an argument, but you can't, because you can't see feelings, you can't. I was trying to think about what that. I feel, it's like, oh fuck's sake, I don't know what I'm saying. I was thinking that it's like fighting your feelings, is like the equivalent of trying to beat up the sea with a hammer. This is a song that it's about an argument that I had. It's based on an argument. We are bitten down and clamped on. We won't let go. We're joined like dogs. We're bitten down and clamped on. We won't let go. We're joined like dogs. I'm understanding, listening, I'm listening, I'm listening, I'm listening. Understanding, I'm understanding, I'm understanding, I'm understanding. We were arguing, and I was saying I'm a victim, and you were saying I'm a victim, and I was saying I'm a victim. It was as if you were really saying what it felt like you were saying. Quotation marks, quotation marks. You were saying, I was saying I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. No, I'm a victim. Understanding, I'm understanding. I'm understanding. I'm understanding. Listening, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening. I feel like most arguments go like that, and both parties are saying that they're the victim, and that the winner of the argument is, comes out as the true victim. So I think that, I feel like the most difficult thing to do is like given, if you're in your own head and you don't, and it's a difficult feeling, is to accept yourself. That feels like it's the most. It feels like it's the most difficult thing, But also, if you don't really trust yourself, as well, that's kind of difficult. And I feel like communication as well, trying to communicate with other people, it's not very direct. It feels like it's not direct, and it's not like I'm thinking about what I'm trying to do, but I don't know what anyone else is thinking, and it's very indirect, and I think it's more like body language, really than anything else. So it's like that because it's probably very clear to you what I'm doing, whatever, I don't know. But I'd imagine it probably is, because I feel like when I look at other people, I can really, I can't see any examples of. I can see examples of people, but I don't know. But examples of, when body language kind of like clearly like expresses something, and everyone understands that like instinctively, But I think the problem is if you're trying to communicate, how you can't know what you're doing because you are you. So I just don't know how, so it feels like that, So in doing, so I feel like it's a matter of trying to trick yourself or get around it's like if you're at the party, you're trying to kind of with yourself, you want to try and sneak out the back, kind of get back inside, and hit yourself over the head or whatever, or at least have a look at what you're doing, to see what you're really doing. And I've been doing this is a drawing that I did, and I did it with my eyes closed. So it's done by crouching down and by the wall there, and then standing up, and then crouching down again. And I've been doing a lot of things like that, trying to do things that I don't know what's going to come out of it. But so I try to concentrate on what I'm doing, and then whatever happens as a result of that, I try to accept it, Because often things come out, always very differently than how what you think they're going to. What you think they're going to look like. This is a neon sign, and it was originally like it's for a park, and originally I wanted to make a 3-part work that would say peace, love, and understanding. So there'd be 3 parts to it, and then as time went on, it turned out that there wasn't enough money to do peace, love, and understanding. So then, it was a difficult choice, and but kind of thinking about it more, I thought I cut out peace because I thought that it seems that peace is it's not really. I feel like life is full of conflict, and so peace isn't necessarily like peace might something that's really peaceful might be dead, So peace isn't necessarily. It's kind of an ideal, perhaps, like peace between people in terms of like not killing each other. But in general, peace, I think that's not. So anyway, I cut peace out because I thought that you can't take the conflict out of life because then you take life out of it. So, and especially because a lot of conflict is internal, I think, as well. But then love was more difficult to remove because. But in the end, I thought that love, because it's an ideal, and it's a kind of it's idealistic feeling, but it's not necessarily, like I feel like you can't be expected to love people that you don't like, and sort of cut that out because, and leaving understanding, because I feel like that at least trying to understand is possible, and it's possible to try to understand people you don't like, or you don't and also think that, like, I feel like if I was to try to say what I want, I would say that I want to be understood, And so I feel like understanding is not, it's not just to do with kind of like trying to understand someone who is trying to kill you or whatever, but it's also to do with wanting to be. I'm sure that everyone wants to be understood, but that's to do with the feeling, and I think that comes down to the feelings that people have got that, but that can't be really properly, accounted for in the world, which is why I think which is why war, probably why wars happen, but anyway, so I made that, and I thought it was important that you could stand underneath it. So, and that's why the space underneath it is the height of that is equal to the height of the letters. So to kind of try and make the bit underneath it that people can stand, kind of like part of the work, I want to do a Christmas song. Because to do peace and love. But I don't. It didn't. It wasn't. I didn't mean it to be a Christmas song. But it just came out. I feel like it sounds like a Christmas song. like it's difficult to end things. I always think it's much easier to start things, than end them. And I've always thought of that about that. It's clear to see from a James Bond film that that it starts and it's all kind of like intricate and the plot goes on and on and that, but at the end, they just basically blow everything up. That's the thing, because you do, and life feels like that. The more you do, the more people you meet, the more and more relationships and things that you've done that you remember, and it just gets more and more complicated. And to tie it all up, it seems like impossible, and I feel like that now about this. Just because I don't know what I've done really, and so I don't know how to tie it up. But in fact, it would seem presumptuous, I think, to try and tie it up, because that would make it. I'd be like I would know what I've done. I don't know what I've done. I'm feeling nervous. I got myself into a mind trap, and now I'm looking for a mind trap map. I got myself into a mind trap, and now I'm looking for a mind trap map. I can't get out of this mind crap. I'm looking for a mind crap gap. Left and right and up, down and around and back, through and across and along. Bit by bit by bit, I got myself into a mind trap, and now I'm looking for a mind trap map. I can't get out of this mind crap. I'm looking for a mind crap gap. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Maybe woo. I wrote a song for a friend of mine last year who got married. For a wedding. It's a wedding song. And maybe I'll try and do that. I don't know if it's relevant. Yeah. But she's a friend of mine, and I couldn't. And I've known her. She's the person I've known the longest in my life, and she got married, and she asked if I'd do a song, and so I sat down and I couldn't think of anything about her, apart from the fact that she doesn't like walking anywhere. So it's based on that. And that's from before the days of Uber, and she's a friend, she's a girl, she's a woman, she's a bride, but she's not a walker, she's not a walker, she's not a walker, she's not a walker, she's a princess, and she's a And she's definitely not a walker. She's a girl, she's a woman, she's a princess, she's a bride, she's a party girl, and she's a taxi girl, princess taxi girl. I don't mind, princess taxi girl. I don't mind if I do, princess taxi girl. I don't mind if I do mind. Alright, yeah, listen, it's been a great pleasure to be here. I don't know what to do, yeah. I don't know how to finish. Shit. But yeah. If anyone's got any questions, you know, if there's I don't know if there's anyone that you know, I mean, it's much easier answering questions than it is, you know, doing the opposite of answering questions. Yeah, I wish I could tie it up. If only I could tie it up. Yeah, I think that love's, you know, love is, oh, it's not in that work. You know, it's probably much more important. So that's probably wrong. Aye. So maybe I'll do a love song. Yes, I do. You're all right. and not, and sometimes, you know, if you wake up and you're next to someone in their arm and you don't know if it's your arm or their arm, you know. And so this is about her. And it's also about a dog as well. That have the same feeling about, you know, sometimes, you know, you get, you know, his hair and his, you know, it gets all mixed up. You put your hand in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand. You put my head in the clouds. You put the clouds in my head. You put thoughts in my head. You put my head in the clouds of the thoughts in your head, in my mind with the thoughts in my head. You put your hand in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand. You put your foot in my mouth. You put your tongue in my mouth. You put my feet on the ground. You take a rock from my feet. You put your hair on my face. You put my hair out of place. I put my life in your hands. You put your hand in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand. You put your hand in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand. You put my head in the clouds. You put the clouds in my head. You put your hand in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand, in my hand, in your hand. Right. I want to finish with a negative song. Yeah. And then this is called Prisoner. I'm a prisoner. I'm a copier. I'm a follower. I'm a repeater. I'm a prisoner. I'm a repeater. I'm a repeater. I'm a believer. I'm an adapter. And I'm an adjuster. Yeah, I'm an admitter. I'm a believer. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm a copier. I'm a follower. I'm a repeater. I'm a believer. I'm a prisoner. Yeah, I'm a prisoner. I'm a believer. I'm a copier. I'm a repeater. I'm a prisoner. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. Hey, thanks a lot. It's hard to finish, you know, but the word stop helps. Aye, thanks for coming. It's been a pleasure.
I've got a question.
Aye, absolutely.
Why do you think there would be no miracles by the Dean Galleries here in Edinburgh?
Why would what? Sorry, I didn't understand.
Why do you think there will be no miracles by the Dean Galleries here in Edinburgh? Because you put up a sign about that there.
What? Sorry, I still don't understand.
Should I stand up? Okay.
Yeah, no, why do I I don't understand. How do you think I think there'll be no miracles?
No, but because you put up this sign by the Museum of Modern Art.
Oh, yeah.
That says that there will be no miracles there.
No, that's not mine. By Nathan Cole, that's right. So you're going to have to ask him. But anyway, I disagree with him.
Yeah.
I think everything is going to be all right. Thanks for the question. Any more questions? This is good.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I often can't remember them, but I do try to write them down. And I wish that I hadn't had this screen now. I don't want to tell you what it is. No, but it's just because it's embarrassing. But I had a dream that I met Bono. and we were on a train, and he was having a drink, and I was saying, and I really wanted to have a drink. And I was like, hey, what's that? And he said, it's tea. And I was really disappointed. And then he seemed, if you write down a dream, it's kind of weird the words you use because it's hard to describe dreams, I think. But then I said, I thought that, because I wrote it down, and I said that he seemed snide. So, yeah, that's the last dream I had. But I don't know if it's going to be a recurring one now. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What happened when you went to the army in New York? And how did you work? Did you get to put the stuff where you wanted to put it? And did you spend time in the space before? Or did someone else curate that and put your work in there?
There was a curator called Tom Eccles, actually, he's Scottish in fact, but he went to America quite a few years ago, and he curated it by this was an exhibition in New York that she's talking about, and I don't know if there are any pictures of it here, but it was very difficult. It was the most difficult show I've ever done. I had massive fights to try to not compromise the work, because whenever you do anything, there's always. That's the thing about that. I feel like it's such a shock if you get something out from inside yourself. The real world is a shocking place. With health and safety restrictions, and other things like that, reasonable things like that. Yeah. Oh. But maybe I'll just I'll finish. I'll do a sort. I don't want to go on too long. We made thanks for having me in your place. Thanks. Oh, there you go, aye.
Work number one, and how did you decide it? Is it the first work you were happy with, or?
No, there's no work number one. They're all when I started numbering them, I went back and numbered, because I didn't want to have titles, that's why I had the numbers, because I thought titles were pretentious, or like, you know.
When did you decide that?
And so, well, just a couple of years after, or 1 year after art school maybe, and then I went back and numbered some older things, and I was too self-conscious about having it. I felt like I couldn't be a number one, because one of the ideas of numbering them was to make them all the same, you know, like to have an equal value, because in everything you do, whatever it is, small or big, you know, who knows what is important. But obviously, number one would be. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for coming. I just got feed out.